Alright, this is Lisa We the People News. Alright, this video is without prejudice and or without recourse. I'm going ahead and stand on the UCC-1-308. Alright, all my rights are going to be reserved. Kadoki. I'm not an attorney, so I am not going to give legal advice. Why? Because I'm not an attorney, that's why. I never just look straight forward. I always look around me to be able to protect myself by any means necessary. Now, that being said, this is where the storm clouds are gathering. Okay? And to be honest, he speaks exactly the way I used to speak. And I still speak the same way in person. Alright, these videos kind of, I just go off. I don't have no script or anything like that, and just do as I wish at the particular time that comes up. Okay? So all my stuff has never been scripted. So, and you guys probably can tell by the way I speak. Alright? But I just love to hear this guy speak, because he's forward, direct, and generally he just cares about other people also. He just throws that vibe. Now, I do not have no first-hand knowledge of this. I never met him. I never spoke to him. Alright? This is just a graven image of him. Okay? However, what can I say? It just resonates with me.
So, wanted to speak to you guys about what I did yesterday. Yesterday was an interesting experience at a federal courthouse. I won't name what courthouse, but I want to tell you guys just how much power and authority you have when you truly have the acquired knowledge needed in order to be able to enforce what you're speaking of. All right. I went to a federal courthouse. I filed a emergency notice for hearing on a habeas corpus due to human trafficking going on that I'm firmly aware of. Okay, and as I have yet to prevail in this matter, it has escalated to such a degree and to such a point that I have to get into a court of competent jurisdiction, a court of record, where we can get an emergency injunction put in place. Okay, having this acquired knowledge comes with a great burden. Okay, because when you have this knowledge, you can't just sleep or slumber on other people's rights. Remember that a violation of your rights is an indirect violation of my rights, and I have zero fucking tolerance for bullshit. So if it happens to you, it indirectly happens to me. It causes me to immediately have an allergic reaction to bullshit that's propagated or promulgated by public officials, and it causes me to have a knee-jerk reaction and go, whoa, motherfucker. Just because you don't think Frank has any relationship to me doesn't mean that what you're doing to Frank doesn't directly affect me, asshole. So, walk into a clerk of court.
Let's see what I'm talking about. I mean, if the cops are violating my rights, it's the same as violating his rights, right? What was that back in the old days? The kings told the soldiers that you treat my soldiers as if they are me, and you will be hung, right? And basically that's what he's saying. Love that point.
Office. Remember, I am not the moving party of this matter. However, I have no problem serving process on people, and I'm very fluent in how I speak. Walk into the courtroom. The first thing I do is approach the federal courthouse. Now, they've got these new rules, quote unquote, that if you don't have an identification, you can't get into the courthouse. And I looked at that U.S. Marshal and I told him, justice delayed is justice denied. Unless you want to be a party to this action, you will let me come into this room because I need to speak to the clerk of the court, and I'm not here to fuck around. I am a man. He says, whoa, we got a motherfucking man here. Come on in. no bullshit. He actually dropped the F-bomb. I was so impressed by that, I had to give him a fist bump because I was like, fuck, finally, somebody's got some fucking balls around here. So he says, you got anything on you? I said, absolutely fucking nothing, because you got to damn near be naked to get into a federal building around these joint anymore. And he started laughing. He says, you got sunglasses? I said, yep, got sunglasses. He says, you got a belt on you? I said, always got a belt on me. Take my belt off, hand him the belt. He says, got anything else on you? I said, no, I don't. He says, well, go ahead and walk on through. Here's your belt. So I walked through the little metal detector, take my belt, I explained to him that the bullshit of wearing a mask and all that horse shit is just nothing more than fear-mongering and bullshit rhetoric. He agreed with me, and he said, well, you still got to wear a mask. So I said, well, fuck it, I'll put a mask on. I put a mask on underneath my nose, walked to the clerk of the court's office, and wouldn't you fucking believe it, not one motherfucking yuppie in the clerk of the court's office in a federal fucking building has a mask on. Yet I'm required to wear one per the U.S. Marshals directives. Well, I put one on just to fucking appease him, but of course, I'm not one for following fucking bullshit rules and propaganda. So that immediately came off as walking down the hall to the clerk of the court's office. Being in these buildings before, I know that none of these motherfuckers wear masks, okay? So, get to the clerk of the court's office. I have this emergency notice for a hearing on a habeas corpus for the human trafficking violations, and trying to get a young man released, and they said, are you the name on here? Of course I'm not that fucking name. Okay, that's fine. It's going to be $450, and I looked at her and started fucking laughing. Okay, now at this point, she doesn't quite understand why I'm laughing, but she's fixing to find out. I says, ma'am, is it your intent to engage in bear trade, deny me due process of law, and try and issue me a fee or a fine and convert my rights into a privilege as though I'm some corporation needing privilege to do business in this building? Yes or no? Well, sir, I'm just trying to do my job. I says, what I need you to do so we don't end up having another member of this corrupt society ending up in a lawsuit with me. What I need you to do is I need you to about face and go find the most intelligent man or woman you have in this fucking building, in this room, right now. Now, of course, my voice carries like a lion throughout the entire building. The Heavenly Father has blessed me with the ability to roar like a lion, and although I don't intend to...
I do have to say, his voice has got that grit to it, right? It does kind of have that lion prosperity oozing out of his mouth.
Yell or scream or rant, my voice and the power in my voice seems to carry and makes people nervous. So, she no more than about faces, makes about 5 paces back towards the direction of this glass wall, which I can clearly see a woman sitting there. The woman's already standing up, fixing herself, coming up to me, and she says, well, sir, we've just never seen any paperwork like this. This is pretty unique, if I might say. What exactly are you trying to do? I said, I just need to get before a magistrate, a chancellor, or a judge, ASAP, about an emergency hearing for a habeas corpus, and justice delayed is justice denied. May I speak to a magistrate today? She says, unfortunately, you can't speak to a magistrate today. I said, I'd like to inform you of something here. I said, if I ask to speak to a magistrate 3 times to you, and 3 times you deny me, that's denial of due process of law. And when you do that, you knowingly, willingly, and intentionally create a felony or permit a felony that you're 100% liable for. And not only that, you're violating public policy while doing so. Did you take an oath of office to not only the United States Constitution, but also the Constitution for the state of Indiana? She says, yes, I did. I said, wonderful. Article 1, Section 12 clearly states that justice shall not be delayed, justice shall be had without purchase, justice shall be not denied to anybody coming to the courts in order to seek remedy. Is it your position that I need to pay you $450, whatever you're asking for, in order to get a file stamp docket number on this documentation here? She says, no, sir, we were never going to deny you any of that. Go ahead and give him what he wants, please. She said, wonderful. Thank you for honoring your oath. My name is Derek. What is your name? She said, my name is Lisa. I said, thank you very much for your professionalism and your honest services in upholding the Constitution for the United States of America, as well as the state of Indiana. I really appreciate it. She said, no problem, Derek. She hurried on back to her glass-walled office where I could clearly see her. She could still clearly see me. Now I'm talking to this administrator who's in there trying to enter in the document because it's a little unorthodox, the document that I put together. So I kindly remind her that equity disregards the form and looks at the substance and the intent. And if there's an issue with it and you want to make a legal determination, we could gladly go before the magistrate right now and find out your qualifications for being able to make such legal determinations. Sir, that really won't be necessary. I've already been advised what to do with you. I'm going to go ahead and do that for you. I just want you to understand that I was just trying to do my job. And I said, well, that's the problem here. the thing is, you already told me that your job is to uphold and enforce the Constitution, not only for this state, but for the United States of America. When you engage in trying to solicit something of financial value or purported financial value from me, that is bearer-tray, it's extortion, it's circuitry, it's maintenance, it's a number of other lists of charges. I could go on and on and on and on for days, but it's really not necessary. I'm not here to work you up. I'm just glad that you're doing what you're supposed to be doing, which is making sure that this documentation gets a docket number and is seen before a magistrate post haste, okay? And so she finished that up. She says, sir, now I noticed that you only brought one copy in here. I said, that's not a copy, that's the original with the wedding signature, and all I need you to do is put a file stamp on that and lodge that into the court so we can get a hearing within the next 72 hours. She said, sir, I am going to do that for you, but the problem is you didn't bring any extra ones in here for me to file stamp that you could walk out of here with. How would you like to remedy that situation? I said, ma'am, if you'd be just so kind to go ahead and go over there and make copies on that Xerox machine, those copies would suffice for me, for my purposes, and for my records, so I can do what needs to be done. She said, you know what, I don't have a problem doing that, but it'll be 50 cents a copy. Now, of course, I have an issue with 50 cents a copy, but I'm not going to make that issue, okay? I just say, okay, we've got 5 pages here, that's 50 cents a page, that's $2.50. Do we agree? Okay, we're creating a contract here. She says yes. $2.50 will suffice for the copies that you need. I said, perfect. I'll be right back. Because remember, you got to damn near strip butt-ass naked to get into any of these buildings anymore, all right? They're afraid of a man like me going in with a camera and showing you guys how this really fucking works. So, out of respect for the whole fucking system, because there is a need for the system, as much as I disagree with the system, there is a need for it. So I walk back out the automobile, I grab what is known as a $20 Federal Reserve note, okay, an instrument of debt, and I walk back in there, and as I walk in there, I slip it onto the table, and there's another gal who's been paying attention, because I'm quite articulate, I'm extraordinarily fast when I speak, and I'm very direct, okay? I'm also extremely courteous when they're doing the right thing. I thank them for their honest services. I thank them for upholding the Constitution, and I make sure not to berate them or belittle them in any way, shape, or form, okay? But when they step outside of their scope of authority, I'm very quick to let them know the consequences of their actions and how willingly I am to enforce those consequences, because I will not put up with tyrannical rhetoric and bullshit and people taking their income under false pretenses, unjustly enriching themselves at the people's expense. I fucking have zero tolerance for it, right? So anyway, I come back in with that $20 bill, and the gal that's an innocent bystander behind the desk, she's paying attention to what I'm saying, obviously. I don't know if she's checking me out because she thinks I'm aesthetically pleasing, or if she's just amazed at the fact that I talk like an auctioneer and I'm very, very poignant with my points. But nevertheless, as I slip that up there, she says, sir, we don't accept cash. Now, I could have made an issue about the fact that the word cash and the definition for cash and what it is, but instead I opted to take that $20 bill, look at it, make sure that the fine print is still on that Federal Reserve note, and I hold it up to the plexiglass that they have dividing everything from monkeypox and all the other bullshit that everybody's so fucking scared of. And I say, do you see on here where it says, for all debts, public and private? She said, yes. I said, do you realize that it's a violation of public policy not to accept this Federal Reserve note for all debts, public and private? And by telling me that you won't accept it and that you actually liberate me, which means you now become the surety for the $2.50 before I can even get the rest of it out of my mouth, all right? Because now we're talking about breach of trust here. You've asked me to do something. I'm more than willing to comply. We've agreed to the terms and conditions. I come back in, and you tell me that I have to have a bank card or some type of credit card. Well, due to people's state of impecuniosity and the fact that the majority of people don't believe in the banking system anymore and don't have bank accounts or bank cards or debit cards or credit cards, what she's effectively informing me of is the fact that they do not honor the equal protection of the law. So what she's telling me is that a man that lives underneath the bridge in the community that has a problem and needs to find remedy and redress his grievance before a court of competent jurisdiction can't do that unless he has a bank account or a credit card. Okay, now that is not equal protection of the law. That in and of itself is an issue. But the fact that I know the maxims of law that says an offering of tendering of payment made and refused liberates the debtor, making them the surety, and they're responsible for the $2.50. And all of a sudden, out of the back of the room, behind that glass wall, there's this woman that says, just give him what he wants. Love you, Lisa. Thank you very much again for honoring your oath and honest services that you provided in taking care of the dereliction of duty that was before me, because your agents and agency operating underneath you were derelict in their duty and incompetent, partially because nobody's ever informed of anything. And that falls back on Lisa, again, if she is in fact the clerk of the court. However, she may or may not have been. I never asked her for her credentials. Anyway, I yell back at Lisa, thank you for your honest services and honoring your oath of office, Lisa. Talk to you soon. Thank you so much. Needless to say, I walk out of there without paying a fucking penny for anything. Now, it's important to understand why. Now, you cannot convert a right into a privilege and issue a fine, a license, or a fee for it. All right? It is my right to be able to go into the courts of competent jurisdiction and issue my grievance, all right, and find redress to that grievance, okay, without delay, all right? So, in the Indiana State Constitution, it's so beautiful because it really lays it out there that justice shall be had freely, without payment, and without delay. And as we know, that justice delayed is justice denied, ladies and gentlemen. By doing so, they deny me due process of law, and they're 100% liable and now become a party to the action for denial of due process of law, making legal determinations without the qualifications for being able to do so. Okay, none of these people want to play games with me because I am that fucking efficient, and I seek to make you every bit as efficient as me, if not faster. Okay, it's like the Wild West. When you get out there and you take 20 paces and you turn around, you gotta be quick on the fucking draw and not put up with any bullshit from anybody. These people are your servants, not to be considered as slaves, because slaves have been abolished since the Treaty of Ghent, and even prior to the Treaty of Ghent, all right? But equity does not aid a volunteer. So, if you willfully, knowingly, and intentionally give them what they're asking for, even though they don't provide any clarity for what they're asking for, ladies and gentlemen, equity will not come in and right the wrong that has transpired because you unwittingly, unknowingly consented to it, all right? So, the old adage is, if you don't know your rights, you don't have any rights. If you see an issue, don't make an issue. You waive the issue, and if you waive the issue, you are entitled to no relief, period. Point blank and simple. With that said, I've got a class coming up. The date has not been announced. We are going to rock and roll about...
All right. So, anyway, subscribe to the where the storm clouds are gathering. Okay. And of course, I'm not going to do all his videos, but this one grabs me, and I thought, well, I'll share it to y'all out there to pick it up and subscribe to him and see what you guys think, right? And all right, this is Diesel with the People News. Till next time, bye y'all.